want it to end. Now, in The Maze Runner, The Death Cure, we see a bunch of our fellow Gladers have been kidnapped by Wicked and are on a train off to Wicked's headquarters to be used for experiments. And we see our Gladers trying to break them out in hopes that they can escape the clutches of Wicked, run off to a safe haven, and live their life in a safe place. Now, if you've been following this channel, you guys know that I'm a big sucker for the young adult genre. I don't know why, but it's just something I feel like I can rally behind because we've all been teenagers, we all struggle with identity, we all love big, huge, massive worlds, and I've been thoroughly impressed with these Maze Runner films. I have read the book series by James Dashner and was thoroughly impressed with these books, but I have to admit, The Death Cure out of the series is my least favorite book. So going into this movie, I had my fears, I had my nervousness, I had everything going for it. And I have to say, I loved this movie, you guys. And as a fellow Glader, I feel like I can say to other Gladers that you have to go see this movie. I think you'll be thoroughly impressed and very satisfied with this closing installment. So I want to immediately start off, right off the bat, that these Maze Runner films always have terrific openings. I love the opening of this movie. We're in the heart of an action sequence, and if you know anything about the making of this film, you know that this is the sequence in which Dylan O'Brien severely injured himself, and they had to halt production and take a time away from it so that therefore, you know, he could rest and get well. He is so committed in this opening sequence. It looked like a big, massive undertaking. It was just incredible to watch. These Maze Runner films, no one ever talks about it, but man, oh man, the diversity in the multi-ethnic cast that's going on in this film is just beautiful to look at. Amazing. And I think we need more of that in films. And I definitely think that that's one of the most overlooked qualities of these films. Also, I want to talk about the budgets. The Maze Runner was made for $35 million, and these sequels had roughly, give or take, I think $60 million budgets, and I have been hella impressed by what they've been able to do on short of cash. It shows that with little cash, you can still get big rewards. This movie aesthetically is gorgeous to look at, and I think Wes Ball is a talent to look out for. It's incredible to know that Fox took a risk with him and gave this guy who hadn't directed a full feature and was like, boom, here you go, here's a franchise, you know, and I thought that that was impressive, and he knocked it out of the park. His direction style just fit with the Maze Runner. It's fast, it's visceral, it's entertaining, it's polished, it's stylish, everything just works very well. I think these movies show that you don't need a big budget. You don't need too many cooks in the kitchen. Also, I can't tell you how much I personally cried while watching this movie. The last act is just so compelling and so entertaining, and that's when a lot of these themes, and a lot of these messages that the series has been, you know, planting seeds on come to fruition. And I think they do a great job about corporate and about how far is too far and good versus evil and how a lot of people are just in the gray. From the moment they get to the last city to the very end, it is just super gripping and intense. And visually and aesthetically, it's so pleasing. That's got to be super exciting as a filmmaker. You know, most of the time if you're making a franchise, you've got a visual palette that you're consistently working with. Not so much with these Maze Runner films. The first one, very green. The second one, very orange. This one, very blue. That's got to be exciting to be able to dip with different sort of brush strokes. Honestly, if you want to know my ranking of this franchise, I would say the first one is still my favorite. Then I would say this is actually my second favorite, and then the Scorched Trials is my least favorite. Overall, The Maze Runner, The Death Cure is a satisfying conclusion to the Maze Runner trilogy. This gives you everything you want and more. Thank God they did not split this final book into two movies. It made the pacing run smooth, it made the action more exciting, and it made the emotions more heartfelt. I cried so much while watching this movie. I thought the actors did a terrific job. They had a lot of emotional weight, a lot of compelling material, and I think Wes Ball did a terrific job directing these three films, and it gave me, as a fellow Glader, one hell of an experience as a fan. I was thoroughly impressed by these films. I had the greatest time, and if you were a fellow Glader that I met through this experience, I just want you to know our friendship does not end here. I thoroughly cannot wait to see more into your lives, and I just am so impressed by these movies. As the score goes, I'm going to give The Maze Runner, The Death Cure a 4 out of 5. So you guys, there you have it. That was my review of Maze Runner, The Death Cure. If you're a fellow Glader, if you're a fellow fan of these movies, please let me know in the comment section below what you think of The Death Cure. And until next time, you guys, I'm the Slash Movieer, and you guys have just been slashed.